Today, let's draw a dragon. It's going to be a youthful dragon, a young dragon. So the first thing I'd like to show you is that I have a number 2 pencil, just an ordinary number 2 pencil, and also a white eraser. Now the white eraser is very helpful because it doesn't leave streaks like a pink eraser does. When you use a pink eraser and erase, there's a lot of pink lines that are left behind or pink streaks. Sometimes with the white eraser, because when you use it a lot and erase a lot like I do, there's a lot of graphite on the ends of it, and sometimes that streaks your paper as well. But I prefer the white eraser, but if you have a pink one, that works just as well too. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is actually start with drawing very basic shapes. Go ahead and bring in the drawing my dragon's head. How about that? Right? So we're going to go ahead and lightly draw that in. See that? There's his head. Next, we want to go ahead and draw lightly the body shape. Alright, so the body shape of this dragon is a tear shape. And then what we're going to do is I like to draw in these lines. They're called guidelines. I call them guidelines. And you can see right there, that way it helps me know where the eyes will be located and also the direction of the head, how it's tilted. Now we need to come in here and start to shape the head of the dragon. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the brow. See that? And then we're going to go ahead and bring in the nostril. Here's a nostril. This is going to be one right here. So as I draw, just draw along with me. Whatever I draw, you draw. And we're going to go ahead and turn that part of the snout into a smile. We want to make a friendly dragon today. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in the other snout right there. Give him some nostril holes, that way he can breathe. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in some wrinkles right here. And then we'll bring in the eyes. There's one eye, and there's 2 eyes right there. How's that look? Alright, and we're going to go ahead and bring in a horn, and he'll need another horn on the other side to balance him. If he doesn't have 2 horns, he won't be balanced well enough. And let's go ahead with the teeth. Here's a tooth, and then I'm going to bring in the other tooth right there. Now, underneath the snout, we're going to go ahead and draw in part of the mouth. And I'm going to bring in a few wrinkles here. I've been inspired by Dr. Seuss and all his wrinkles that he puts in his characters. Next, we want to go ahead and draw in the ear. Now the ear, this ear here is a little flappy type of an ear. Yeah. Just starts to create the look of the dragon now with that ear, putting that ear in there. And then we're going to go ahead and draw part of the head there. Awesome. Now we got to get this head looking like it's turning, so we're going to go ahead and draw the body in here. Give him a big belly. You know, he's young, but he's growing. He needs to eat a lot. So his belly's full. Then we're going to go ahead and draw the arm in here. Now when you draw the arm, just a very basic oval shape. Same with the forearm. Right? You got the arm right here, and then you have the forearm right here. And then it comes up right around. And we're going to go ahead and draw the claws in. Right? Just little claws right there. And we're going to go ahead and draw his backside. And before I continue that part there, I want to draw in his hindquarters. Alright, so here's one of them. Right, just an oval or a circle shape. See that? And then we're going to go ahead and bring the feet. With his toes, and then the heel, and then the calf area. These are all shapes of the body, all the names of the body. The knee, let's go ahead and give him a swirl for the knee. Now we have the hindquarter there. Let's go ahead and draw on the tail. So we're going to go ahead and draw the tail up, and it's going to curve right around, just like that. And go ahead and put in the end of the tail. And let's go ahead and bring in the rest of the other side of the tail. And we're going to go ahead and bring in a few wrinkles right here. He's looking at his tail for the first time. Now on this side we need to draw another hindquarter. And we're going to just draw in a couple toes. Just like that. Look at that. And guess what? He needs another hand here. So we're going to go ahead and put in his hand on that side. And then we had to put in his stomach armor. Just draw a curved line right through here. That's how he protects himself. Just like that. All right. Now the guidelines we draw in the beginning, they should look a little bit more faded by now. And let's go ahead and give him some eyebrows on top. I'm going to darken some of these lines up. And then what I try to do is I'm going to come back through here and bring in a few wrinkles, a couple textures, maybe a couple marks on him, little marks that identify this particular dragon. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Alright, now let's put him into an environment. We got to add some background elements to really put him into this environment that he's sitting in. Make it more believable. Create a world that people can believe that it actually exists. And what I have, a straight edge is basically just any object or item that you can find that has an edge that's straight. And this is very helpful to me in drawing straight lines. And what I want to do is place this on the paper, and I want to draw in a tower in the background, a castle tower. How about that? I'll go ahead and draw that in, just like that. There's one straight line. And then draw in the other line of the tower, castle tower. Hold it down. Go ahead and draw it in. There we are. Now we have two lines for two sides of our tower castle tower. All right, now we're going to curve. We want to make sure we curve this right through here. And I'd like to mention that, so I made two parallel lines. Right, parallel lines are lines that never touch each other. If they were to continue on and on, they would never touch each other because they're exactly side by side. Now let's go ahead and draw in another curved line here. And it's really an oval. If I continue that, you would actually see that it would be more of an oval shape. All right, I'm going to bring this down just slightly. And now let's draw the rook part of the castle. How about that? I don't know if you can tell, but I've curved these lines just slightly because really they're they're actually in an oval type shape. See that? All right, then under here we can go ahead and shade in this part of the rook because less light is getting underneath this part of the tower. See that? Really makes it stand out a little bit more. And let's go ahead and bring a roof in right here. All right, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a few details, like a couple lines. Now these lines curve just slightly. Just like that. How about that? Awesome. Let's go ahead and bring in a window. I'm going to go bring this window in here. Just like that. And it needs a ledge. A little windowsill. It just creates a nice aesthetic. A nice look for the tower. And then we go ahead and shade in this part of the tower. This window actually. Less light is getting inside the tower. So there we go. Now I'm going to bring in a few lines just to add texture. Underneath the windowsill, this little ledge here, we're going to go ahead and shade that piece in there too. Outstanding. Now, we don't want to draw every individual cement block, concrete block that sits in there in the tower to make it. So we're going to go ahead and just bring in a few lines. Just a few indications of maybe the brick area. Just a few, not a lot. That helps out a lot to just give the illusion that this is actually built with fortified material, preventing anything to destroy it. It'll stand for years and years, hundreds of years. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in a few other lines that I'd like to bring in, like these little dots, just to give it more texture. Some crosshatch lines. Now, if you make a crosshatch line, you just make a couple lines like this, and then you go back the other way, just like that. Just gives the indication that things are scratched up or scraped up, and yep. Put some shadows underneath some of the bricks here. And I'm just going back through and bringing in some other lines. I'm going to bring in a little bit of shading right through here. Right? That way the roof will stick out just slightly, a little bit more. Or actually it pushes it further back and makes the roof stand out more. Awesome. Some textures here, some circles, some dots. Maybe I'll put a few here, a few bricks. Notice how I try to stagger them. See how I stagger them? Yep, it's good to stagger your bricks. The stones inside the castle to give it more of a believability. Because that's actually how a tower is made, by stacking blocks. Alright, so we have that going on for us. Super. Now let's go ahead and bring in some grass, because now we have to give this dragon and the tower to sit down on and to be standing on something. So let's go ahead and bring in some blades of grass. Now the blades of grass are different shapes. Some are pointed, some are rounded, and different various sizes. And then let's go ahead and put a bush right back here. And continue this part here. Yep. I have one line right here I'm going to erase. Don't need that one there anymore. Now let's go ahead and bring in some shading right here along the leg area and where the grass is. Let's go ahead and bring in a few shadows here to allow the grass to stick out. Right there, yeah. Look at that. I'm going to bring in a few other texture lines. Stands out nicely. And then back here we have this bush. Let's go ahead and draw in another smaller bush. And this one we're going to shade in a little bit more. Just like that. That way it looks like there's a shadow. Just like that. How about that? That looks good. And let's go ahead and bring in a few stones. I like bringing in these little stones right here, and I bring a few texture lines right through here and cap it off or top it off or end it with a few blades of grass and then some little baby stones, and Maybe we'll put a mama stone and a little baby stone right here. Yeah, that's outstanding. I like that. Underneath the dragon, we want to go ahead and bring in some shadows. Take your pencil and just shade underneath. That way it looks like the dragon actually has form. Actually has mass. And then go ahead and underneath the tail of the dragon, shade that in a little bit there. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some blades of grass. That way it looks like he's actually sitting in the grass. Some stones right here. Just like that. Outstanding. Now we have this area behind him, so we got this part of the background, but over here we need to add a little bit of a background detail to really set him in this environment. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in some land that might be further back, and this is going to be a lot smaller. It's going to appear a lot smaller because we have the lines a little closer together. Just like that. See that? And then what we can do, we can take our pencil and lightly shade in the tree line back here, because that's further back. Things that go further back in space, back in distance, appear to have less color. It's called being muted. So it's muted. Things further back in space tend to be lighter in color. So that's why we can add some shadows to it for the background. I'm going to come through here and just add a few more details in the horns, give the horns some texture. Right? And then same with the ears. And then let's go ahead and, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring in a few spikes onto his tail. How about that? Now these spikes are just triangular in shape. Just like that. How about? Wow. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to thicken up the line. I'm going to give this something called line weight. Line weight is just a fancy way of saying that we're going to make the lines thicker, because this dragon should appear closer to us. We're going to separate it from the background because it will have a thicker line compared to the towers. You know, all the lines in the tower will be thinner than the ones that are on the dragon. And it's just for the outside, not on the inside of the body, like over here. I'll just darken this a little bit, but I'm not going to make it thicker. Just the outside needs to appear thicker. And then over here, this knee, I forgot to bring in a little swirl for his kneecap on that side. And then underneath his belly, we're going to go ahead and bring in some shadows here. Just a few shadows. Yeah, and some dots here and there. Some textures. Yeah, I really like this. I hope you do too. Oh, way in the distance, see how we have this area? Oh, you could do a lot of things. We could do a lot of things here. We could add text over in this area. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in some shapes of birds. But you know what? Maybe they're not birds. Maybe it's a dragon family coming to visit. Yeah, but they're really far back, so they have to appear really far in the distance. So you make them really small. You don't want to get too detailed with them. Awesome. And I think that is pretty good. Until next time, keep up the great effort and keep drawing.